Ruth?
Hello, Ruth. Would you like a cup of tea?
A cup of tea, Ken?
Yeah, you'd like one.
Let's have a nice hot cup of tea. Hmm?
I want a cup of tea.
Shake.
Tea? I'd love a cup of tea.
Oh, Christ, that's the whole day gone.
Would you two like a cup of tea?
You see?
How would you like a nice cup of tea, girl?
How about a nice cup of tea?
Can I get you a cup of tea, Alfie? A cup of tea?
Oh. Would you like a cup of tea?
Cup of tea?
Me no, sir.
Do you want a cup of tea?
Tea? No, thanks. I'm a coffee drinker. Would you get me a cup of tea? I wish to speak to Linda. Oh, sure.
You're just in time for the cup of tea. That's if you don't mind, China. Not at all.
Hello, Mum. Just put round for a cup of tea, all right?
Cup of tea, splendid.
Why don't you have a cup of tea?
A nice spot of tea will do you the world of good.
What would we do without our cups of tea?
I love a cup of tea.
You got it.
Have a nice hot cup of tea. Have a cup of tea. Darjeeling.
No, thanks. I've got to go.
Why don't you make us all a nice cup of tea?
You make a very excellent cup of tea.
Can I make you a cup of tea?
Should we get you a cup of tea?
Would you like a cup of tea, old man?
Yes, please, Dad.
I'll make you a nice hot cup of tea.
Come inside and have a nice cup of tea.
Anyone like a cup of tea?
I'll have a cup of tea.
You what?
You cannot make a cup of tea, Edward.
Come along, my dear. I was just about to have a cup of tea.
Fancy a cup of tea?
Would you care to have a cup of tea?
I'd love that.
Tea?
Sure.
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
No. A cup of tea.
Have a cup of tea.
I don't want a goddamn cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
Oh, no.
Oi! Cup of tea over here, please!
Cup of tea.
Could I fix you a cup of tea?
No, thank you.
Cup of tea, Mum.
Cup of tea?
Oh, no, thanks. The bus will be here soon. Wouldn't you like me to fix you a little cup of tea? No, No, thank you.
Would you like a cup of tea, Dennis?
No cup of tea?
I thought we were just going to have a cup of tea.
We'll have a nice cup of tea. I'll just slip the kettle on.
Perhaps a nice cup of tea.
Any chance of a cup of tea?
Would you like a cup of tea?
Cup of tea?
That'd be nice.
Is there a place here where I can have a cup of tea?
Well, yes, ma'am. You can get a cup of coffee at the hotel across the street there.
I happened to be driving by. I thought I'd just pop in for a cup of tea.
A cup of tea?
No.
How'd you like a nice cup of tea?
I'd like a cup of tea.
I know. You've made me a cup of tea.
Yes, go.
How's about a nice little cup of tea? Now, don't you stir. I'll be glad to make it for you.
Maybe just a cup of tea?
Nothing, thank you.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Oh, yes. That would be lovely.
Colonel, do you suppose we could have a cup of tea?
Give him a cup of tea.
You want a cup of tea?
Time for a cup of tea?
I'll need a cup of tea.
Cup of tea?
No, thank you.
Proper cup of tea to restore my normality.
I've had a cup of tea ready.
Would you like a cup of tea, sir?
I ain't gonna have a tea either.
Cup of tea?
No, thank you.
I thought perhaps before you've all become too absorbed, you and your guests might like a cup of tea.
Oh, you shouldn't.
Drink?
Well, a cup of tea would be very nice.
Yeah, tea it shall be, wise man.
Making myself a cup of tea. Cup of tea?
Oh, go away.
Very well, a cup of tea then.
A cup of hot tea for me, please.
Cup of hot tea for Diamond Jim Brady.
Cup of tea, dear.
Take it easy.
Go make yourself a cup of tea. I'll finish this.
I'll get you a nice cup of tea.
Would you like a cup of tea or something?
I'd like a cup of tea when I return.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Can I get you a cup of tea or something?
No, thanks.
You know, I always say this is the only place in the old prison where you get a really decent cup of tea.
Would you care for a cup of tea with your egg?
Yes, thank you. I'm starving.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Cup of tea, please.
We don't serve cups of tea, sir. Only pots.
I think I need a cup of tea after all that. Care to join me, you two?
Thank you for your hospitality. Could you extend it to a cup of tea?
This is a very famous picture, Laura. It's almost 100 years old. I first saw this picture at the Isolde Cinema in my hometown when I was your age.